Right then guys, how's it going and welcome back to your football predictions. I hope you guys are having a good week. Those were my predictions from the weekend gone, game week 26. Well, the weekend games of game week 26. I got one correct score. I got that Chelsea beat Crystal Palace 1-0. As always, loads of you guys got involved, so thank you to everyone who got their comments in on the last video. I'll put a load of them on screen now. Be sure to get your predictions down below for the games we will predict today, which is game week 27, which starts Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, the games are all over the place at the minute. There are still games from game week 26 that have been rearranged that are on tonight, Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday. We are just going to jump past them straight into game week 27. So we are nice and organised, ready for the weekend. And it starts off on the Friday night with Southampton taking on Norwich. So the game's on at 8 o'clock. It is on Sky. Southampton continued their great run of form with a win against Everton at the weekend. Looking fantastic right now, if I'm being honest. Taking on a Norwich side who did lose at the weekend. They did have a very tough game. They lost against Liverpool 3-0. That's straight off the back of a game against Manchester City as well, which they also lost 4-1. But in fairness, prior to that, Norwich had won a couple of games, and that relegation fight down there is getting very interesting at the moment. However, I think I've got to back Southampton. They're at home, and as I say, have been looking pretty good, especially coming into the second half of the season. I've picked up some great results, so I've gone for a 2-0 win to them. Moving on to the Saturday now at 12:30 on BT Sport, we have got Leeds taking on Spurs. Leeds are as exciting as always at the weekend when they ended up losing 4-2 to Manchester United, so plenty of goals in that one. I actually said in the last video that I hoped it would be plenty of goals. I actually went 2-2 and it ended up being 4-2. Leeds are a team, and I just mentioned it earlier with Norwich, Leeds are a team who are still sitting probably, I would say, enough points out of the way of relegation spots, but at the same time it is really hotting up down there and they are really going to want to try and pick up as many points as they can. Having said that, they are still to play Liverpool this week and then Spurs at the weekend. Two very tough fixtures in a row. Taking on a Spurs side who also play through this week against Burnley as well. That's following their 3-2 win against Manchester City at the weekend. I watched that game. Wow. Mahrez scoring a penalty at 90+2 and then Harry Kane coming back and winning the game at 90+5. I spoke about the fact that Spurs have been on a great bit of form, then suddenly losing 3 games in a row. Harry Kane hasn't really been playing his best football this season, then going ahead and winning the game again like that against the team who tried to buy him in the summer. But as for this game, I have backed Spurs. I've gone 2-1. I think Leeds are always in a shout, but I think Spurs will be riding high after that win. Moving on to the 3 o'clock kickoffs now, starting off with Brentford taking on Newcastle. Brentford, unfortunately, lost at the weekend against Arsenal. Funnily enough, Arsenal was the first team Brentford played this season coming up to the Premier League, and they won that game. And I almost felt like that's kind of reflected how their season's gone, because it started so well, and it's now been a long time since they last picked up 3 points in a game. A couple of draws here and there, but generally have lost quite a few. I think they have 6 wins overall this season, taking on a Newcastle side who is almost the opposite, who started the season terribly, have picked up 4 wins themselves, but 3 of them were in the last 4 games. 6 games unbeaten now. So despite the fact that Brentford are currently sitting higher in the table, currently 6 points ahead of the relegation, Newcastle 2 points behind, 4 points ahead of the relegation, it almost feels like they've had opposite seasons so far. Newcastle started badly, are now playing better. Brentford started really well, now aren't. And in terms of a prediction, I've backed Newcastle 1-0. I've backed the form team. They are my team as well, so I want to back them. And what a win will do is actually take Newcastle above Brentford and actually pull them right down into this relegation fight. So I'm hoping that's what happens. Moving on to Brighton taking on Aston Villa. Brighton, solid season. Very solid season. Currently sitting in 9th place. Played Burnley at the weekend, and I thought, you know what? The two teams here who draw all their games, it's bound to be a draw. No. Burnley winning 3-0 against Brighton, which I'm sure they will not be particularly pleased with, if I'm being honest. Taking on an Aston Villa side who, again, is another team who have been solid this season, but in recent weeks have not quite picked up the results they probably would have wanted. A draw with Leeds where they were ahead, a loss to Newcastle who are a relegation contender, and then losing against Watford at the weekend, another team who look like they could well go down this season. So some sticky form from Aston Villa in the last few weeks, and I couldn't really pick in either way on this one, so I've ended up going 1-1. Next up, again at 3 o'clock, we have got Crystal Palace taking on Burnley. So Crystal Palace, again, another side who have been decent this season. I mean, I would still say they're enough points away from that relegation scrap at the moment, but still with some not great form. I mean, they lost against Chelsea at the weekend, which is always going to be a tough game. But also drawing against Norwich, who are a team who are down in that relegation spots to think they should probably be beaten. Drawing against Brentford, I've just spoken about them, a team on terrible form. They're actually playing Watford through the week. Well, actually tonight while I'm recording this. So they're playing Watford and then they play Burnley. So they've got to be looking at these two games as a chance to pick up some good points to really put themselves away from any possibility of relegation this season. But they are taking on a Burnley side who got their second win of the season at the weekend. I've already spoken about it. They beat Brighton 3-0. Burnley have got some games in hand as well. I think they've got 2 games in hand on most teams around those relegation spots. So could this be their chance to put themselves out of it? They themselves play through the week as well against Spurs before going into Crystal Palace. So who knows? The league could look completely different depending on how these 2 games go. Predicting the Crystal Palace one, I've got 0-0. Bigged it all up and then shot it down. I think it could be a really close game, and I could see it ending without a score or even 1-0 either way or 1-1, but I've backed the 0-0. Moving on now to Manchester United taking on Watford. Manchester United are another team whose form has been a little bit all over the place, but again, this is why the Premier League is the most watched league in the world, because pretty much anyone can beat anyone, and it is just a bit all over the place this season. Having said that, they are 7 games unbeaten in the Premier League, which isn't bad going, and they did win 4-2 against Leeds at the weekend, and they are currently sitting in 4th place. I think they're 4 points ahead of 5th right now, which is not a bad place to be. Having said that, there are some teams below them, including Spurs, including Arsenal, who have got have got games in hand and can move past them, but it means they've just got to keep winning their games. Taking on a Watford side, who again, another team down there in the relegation zones battling this season. They went and picked up a massive win at the weekend, beating Aston Villa as well. 4 points away from stepping out of that relegation zone, and as I say, they play Crystal Palace through the week as well. So again, the table could look completely different by the time this weekend are over. In terms of a prediction, I have backed Manchester United 2-0. Again, your guess is as good as mine at the moment, but that's what I've gone for there. Moving on to the Saturday at 5:30 now, we have got Everton taking on Man City. Everton, another team who look desperate to try and join in the fun in the relegation spots this season with their 2-0 loss against Southampton. Again, obviously Lampard's come in, he's only just getting his feet under the table and trying to get things sorted. He started things off straight away with that 4-1 win against Brentford in the FA Cup, then losing to Newcastle in the Prem, then beating Leeds 3-0, and then losing against Southampton. So he's had some mixed results so far. I still think Everton are a better side than where they are currently sitting in the league. They just need someone to take over and get things going. So that's one to watch. Having said that, they're playing Man City. And I said it last week, I've probably said it every week. It's very tough not to back Man City in the Premier League. However, I was wrong to back them last weekend because, as I say, Harry Kane scoring the spectacular a finale to the end of the game with a 90+5 winner. You think when Mahrez is stepping over the ball to score that penalty to make it 2-2 and take the point home, Harry Kane had different things to say, which, to be honest, makes the league way more interesting for me as a complete neutral, because they are now 6 points ahead of Liverpool, but Liverpool have one game in hand and they've still got to play each other. So that will be exciting indeed. But anyway, as for this game, I've gone 3-1 Man City. Just the one game on Sunday at 2 o'clock, and it is West Ham taking on Wolves. So the pair of these teams, to be fair, are both challenging for a Champions League spot now. Wolves themselves have been on some fantastic form, have now put themselves within 6 points of 4th place, with 2 games in hand as well. Have won 4 of the last 5 games and beat Leicester at the weekend. Taking on a West Ham side who, again, are 4 points off 4th themselves. Drew 1-1 with Newcastle at the weekend. I think Newcastle played a great game at West Ham, but again, for themselves to be playing a team currently sat 4th bottom when they're trying to finish 4th top, I think they will be disappointed there. In terms of a prediction, I actually have changed this twice because I think it's going to be close. I think it will be a close game. I think 1-0 either way. And again, I want to change my mind again, but it's written down and I'm going to stick with it. And I'm going to go 1-0 West Ham. Wolves actually play tomorrow night against Arsenal as well, so depending on what happens there, if they're on more of a high or if they've lost, they've had less of a rest, I'll stick with West Ham. And then to finish things off on Tuesday night, because this has been tagged on to the end of game week 27, we've got Burnley taking on Leicester. So I've already spoken about Burnley already. They play Spurs through this week, then they play Crystal Palace at the weekend, and now they're playing Leicester on Tuesday because they've got so many games in hand. They're trying to catch up. So again, obviously a great win against Brighton at the weekend. They're going to want to try and continue that on, playing a Leicester side who I haven't spoken about yet, who haven't been on the best form. I think it's 5 or so games since they last picked up with 3 points, losing against Wolves at the weekend. Leicester have had a much longer break. I do say that Leicester have got a better team generally, so I have still backed them to win it 1-0. And those are all of my predictions up there for the games this weekend. Be sure to get your predictions for game week 27 down in the comments below. I'm doing a prediction video for every week through this season of the Premier League. So if you are enjoying this series, be sure to drop a like and get your predictions down in the comments below. Again, if you are watching this video but you are yet to hit that subscribe button, because I know loads of you guys do that, then please do. It makes a big difference to me and helps the channel. But thank you for watching. Enjoy the football this weekend, or pretty much every day, because it's literally on every day at the moment. Enjoy the football. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.